What's up, y'all? Good morning. So the other day, as I was reading the survey comments for my job, there was a person that had made a comment on how they're not able to come and eat at Shake Shack all the time, and they gave us like not a real bad score, but it wasn't like a 10. And thinking on that, my thought is that although that person was well-meaning as far as their input and their feedback in the survey, just because you don't see the value beyond the price that something costs doesn't mean that it's exactly that price or even more. There are people in life that would try to downgrade your value because they just don't see it, and they don't have a revelation of your value to them. And the bad part about that is people, because they don't see the value in you, will try to get you to drop your prices to fit their budget. But what needs to happen is people just need to come into a revelation of who you are. And so my encouragement with all of this that I'm saying is to be confident in who you are. You don't have to drop your prices for anybody. If anything, reading that on the survey is just an encouragement to me, to encourage my team, to make it painfully obvious of just how valuable, a company like Shake Shack is, and what we value and what we present. It's not just shakes, fries, and burgers, but we're giving you a experience of hospitality. At least that's the goal and that's the vision. And so what I can take from that is that's why it's important to be on the same page with your visionary, your founder, as far as what it is that you're even called to do. You can't engage a Shake Shack place of business with McDonald's mindset. And that's not necessarily any shade, because I like McDonald's or Wendy's as much as anybody else. But you just got to know your value. You got to know what you present and what you put out into the world, and that comes from having an identity. And you just got to know who you connected to, know who you work for. Because the reason why people want you to downgrade who you are for them is because they're used to going to a McDonald's. And I'm using McDonald's now as a proverbial reference point that you can apply to anything in your life. People are used to status quo. People are used to people catering to them and bringing down their value at a level to where they don't have to come up. You shouldn't do that. So let me swing back around to what I was saying. Know who you're connected to. In reference to a job, people come to Shake Shack, and once again, I'm using this proverbially. You can apply this to any part of your life. People come to Shake Shack because of the following that it has. But when there are ignorant people that don't understand Shake Shack, or let's just make it like this: when there are ignorant people that don't understand a Louis Vuitton or a Gucci, they don't understand fashion like that. They don't understand Prada. Then they're not gonna pay the money that it takes to have these things, because in their mind, oh, that just costs too much. I don't got enough money for that. When if you look at it different, you can have anything you want if you have the mentality and the mindset to have the things that you want. People, they like to pick on people that like the finer things in life. They like to pick on the people that like to go and shop at International Mall or, Neiman Marcus or these high-end stores. There ain't nothing wrong with shopping at high-end. These people work for what they want, and they can buy what they want, and they don't deserve to be judged for what they want and for what they like. But it's people like the person that commented on the survey and said that basically the food is too much, that don't understand certain things. They don't understand what we're giving. And some of that misunderstanding comes from a subpar service from maybe people that are connected to a place like Shake Shack that aren't providing at the level that the founder envisioned. And so sometimes you can be the bottleneck, as it would, to more of a customer base, because you could be the one that's not accurately conveying the vision of what you're connected to. So all in all, before I ramble for another 6 minutes, know what you're connected to. Know that you're doing a great work, even though it may not seem as such. Know that you're doing a great work. And if you're not on the same page with what you're connected to, then unfortunately leave. You know, it's just straight like that. Because otherwise, if you don't, you're hurting more than you're helping. And I say that you're hurting more than you're helping because then you're making a bad name for a good brand name. And nobody wants that. No founder wants that. They'll give chance after chance and whatever. But at the end of the day, if you're hurting somebody's bottom line, i.e. if you're hurting somebody's paycheck or money, or you're creating less opportunities and less craves and raves about the company that you work for, you don't get the mission. And then there's people that don't get the mission that don't do any good as far as conveying the mission to people that just don't see why they should pay, you know, a certain amount of money for something that they can go to another place and get for half or a third of the cost. It's not about the price tag, it's about the lifestyle. And basically what I'm saying and what I'm trying to say is present a lifestyle that people want to ascribe to. You know, even people that don't have certain money, if they want to ascribe to a certain kind of lifestyle, even just on the surface, they're going to buy these expensive things because they want to at least look like they have that kind of lifestyle. You know, be somebody that inspires people to be better, even if it's on a surface level. Because like I said, people can buy things and they can look a certain way and not be that internally. But at least you're doing a little bit of your job by at least making them, you know, feel like, and let me take it back to the Shake Shack example. At least you're doing a good job of at least making people feel like, oh, I'm eating at Shake Shack. I'm something, you know. And I think that this is what this person that says, I wish I could afford to eat here all the time, does, because you know the food is expensive. But beyond food being expensive, is it worth it? Because if it's worth it, you're going to pay whatever price you need to pay because you value it that much. So no, nobody makes the kind of money to eat Shake Shack every single day, you know. But what I'm trying to say is that although nobody makes the kind of money, and I won't say nobody because obviously there are people that are regulars, but you want to inspire people to see the value of you, ultimately. It's not about Shake Shack. It's not about anything else. You want people to see the value of you. And in order to be connected to a great company, a great person, a great organization anywhere, you got to see the value in you. Because if you don't see the value in you, then you're hurting somebody's bottom line. And ultimately, they're going to cut you off because they consider themselves valuable and they want to be around high-end, high-level people. And you don't want to become the weak link that gets kicked to the side because you're not with the program. You want to be the person that comes in and elevates anything, elevates hospitality, elevates anything. Somebody can see the value in you and know that you are a great asset and be thankful for you. So I hope in all that I said something that made sense and hit you where you are. Know your value, walk in that value, and don't let nobody make you look at yourself as any less than who you already are. If anything, make them come up and make them see the value. And how do you make somebody see the value in what you do? Consistency. It's just consistency. It's a battle of mindsets. It's sometimes a battle of words in which mindsets are conveyed through. But don't let nobody allow you to drop your price so that they can afford you. No, don't do that. And it's not about money when I say afford, because this can apply to anybody. The person that don't make nothing, the person on the street, and the person that make as much money as they want to make. Don't let nobody allow you to drop your price. Don't allow nobody to allow you to drop your price. And it seems on the surface like it's very enduring. You know, they play to your heartstrings. Oh, I can't afford this, yada, yada, yada. But it's just like, nah. People will try to make you drop your price in a way that doesn't seem like they're trying to do exactly what they're trying to do. And I'm just putting you on game. Don't let nobody drop your price. If you're worth that, then be that. And let them come up. Don't mean that you got to be snooty and hold your nose up to the sky. Because if you see value in yourself, the other thing is, you're going to see value in that person. If you see value in yourself, you're going to demand that that person come up in who they are. When some people look at that as, oh, this person's being mean, you know, they're trying to drive me to, you know, be better, you know, same emotional manipulation that people would try with trying to get you to drop your price. Ultimately, it's because they don't want to come up. Because a person that really and truly values himself is going to bring up everything that they're connected to. They literally are. You know, you have people that are at a certain level that do stick their nose up in the air, that they look like they value themselves. They're one of those people that buy expensive things to make themselves feel like something. Listen, you do not have to own expensive things. You do not have to go expensive places. You do not have to eat expensive food to be expensive. If you think you do, then you've missed the point. You don't know your value. So knowing your value has way more to do with internal than it has to do with anything external. So just catch it in everything I'm saying. Know your value. It don't have nothing to do with the outside. It's got everything to do with the inside. And somebody that knows how valuable they are on the inside, they're going to treat other people in such a way that it causes them to come up. And it's just very confusing because there are people that have very expensive lives that on the surface you would think that they value themselves a lot by the things that they put into their body and by the way that they live their lives. But it could be smoke and mirrors. They could be doing these things because they don't feel the type of value. And to me, for where I'm working and the people that I'm hanging around, as far as my job is concerned and the places that I'm around, everything ain't what it seems. And so just like I would treat somebody that doesn't have like the money to eat Shake Shack every single day, I'm going to treat the person that has the money to eat Shake Shack every day the same way that I would treat the person that doesn't have the money to eat at Shake Shack every day. Why? Because you cannot judge a book by its cover. Just because you're eating at Shake Shack every day doesn't mean that you have the life that you actually want. Just because you're making all the money in the world that you want doesn't mean that you have the life that you want. At the end of the day, it's about internal. And so for me serving a guest, I'm dealing with the internal. It's not about the food. It's not about how much the money it costs. Because at the end of the day, these people walk up in these doors because they want an hospitable experience, because everybody has a soul needs. And last time I checked, everybody has a heart. You may not have all the money that you want. You may not wear all the clothes that you want, have the relationships you want, and the list can go on. But everybody has a heart. And so at the end of the day, it's about the heart of the matter. Know your value, y'all. Have a great day.